Good morning. Welcome to my studio. This is where I make clothing for living history interpreters all over North America, but I also make other things other than clothing. For me, it is important to think about all of the material culture that we as human beings surround ourselves with. And when we're doing living history, it can be as simple as what you can carry on your back because you're a soldier or a soldier's wife walking across the newly formed United States, or it can be an abundance of material culture, like is here in my studio or here in my farmhouse. Um, when I started working at the habitation, it was important for me to have my own clothes, of course, so that they would become my clothes and not just a costume that the interpreters wear. It was important for me to be fully dressed as a gentleman of the time. And then once I had the suit made and my shoes procured and I had a nice hat, I thought about other pieces of material culture that I would have with me while inhabiting a space at the habitation. And one of the things that I thought I might like to have is a gentleman's indoor cap. So when you take your hat off when you come in from outdoors, you set your hat on top of a cupboard and then you put on your interior cap, and that keeps your hair contained. And as you can see, I have an abundance of ill contained hair that needs to be contained when it's humid or it becomes a giant cloud of mess. So, this is the cap that I decided to start for myself. It's an embroidered cap. It's polychrome embroidery, which means it's multicolored embroidery. And these turn up in museum collections all over the Western world. And the stitch is one stitch. The embroidery is one stitch over and over and over again, repeated. And this is a great project for me to pick up and put down as needed. I can work on it a little bit or spend an entire day if I want to. And the stitches, the buttonhole stitch, it's work in a detached form, so it's only attached on the outside edges. The inside is, I'm going to flip this over so you can see the back side. The inside is not worked through the ground fabric. This cap will be in two pieces, as you can see. The turn up, which is part of the lining, and then the body of the cap, and these points go up over the head and shape to the head. And these are all items that would have been found in my garden back in France. Roses, chrysanthemums. Pomegranate is not necessarily found in the garden, but it is a sign of wealth and prestige. So there's a few pomegranates. And then some birds, a snail, and my family heraldry, the oak leaf and acorn. This form of embroidery started out as a man's trade. I portray a tailor at the habitation, and there were two tailors at the habitation, both men. There were no women, and they would have made clothing and accoutrements like this for the other gentlemen at the habitation. They would have also done a lot of repair work, which I do tend to do a bit in the summertime. But this would have been also a man's trade, embroidery. And in fact, in the time period of the habitation, it is quickly becoming a method of formal education for young women. Wealthy families would hire an embroiderer to come in and teach their young women embroidery. And in the meantime, they're also learning how to read and write the Latin names for all of these motifs. So it's a form of early formal education for girls, which I like to add into my interpretation at the habitation, because a lot of people think that this is a girl's trade, but in fact it's a guy's trade that quickly became a girl's trade. So this is what I'm working on in my spare time. I am also creating a few gowns to go down to the States. This is what happens in the spring at the Sweet Shoe. Have a great day, guys.